Recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, everyone. Chairman, I'd like to submit for the record two separate articles. The first from the Honest Elections Project, Zuckerbucks 2.0, the U.S. Alliance for Election Excellence, exposing the left's latest attempt to influence the election process.
Without objection.
The second is from the Daily Signal, how one Georgia county skirted Zuckerbucks' ban to bank $2 million in an election grant.
Without objection.
Mr. Walter, the Center for Tech and Civic Life, the group Mark Zuckerberg gave millions of dollars to during the 2020 election, recently embarked on a 5-year, $80 million project called the U.S. Alliance for Election Excellence. Is the alliance orchestrating a direct scheme to override state bans for Zuckerbucks and private funding of election administration? And if so, how can the alliance get around such regulations?
Well, it certainly is. As I said, sometimes they're attempting to get around bans by giving to a different part of a government instead of the election office. Sometimes they're offering in-kind contributions. Sometimes they're offering so-called credits that can only be spent with their partners, some of whom are part of the Arabella Advisors dark money network that receives foreign influence cash.
Okay. Now, do you know who or where they'll target?
Well, they've targeted a number of different places. It's interesting to see Greenwich, Connecticut, for instance, was one place they targeted, and it was very controversial there, and the town decided to refuse to accept membership in the alliance, although they did take the money.
Right. So when counties and localities become members of the alliance, what, if anything, do they actually promise the alliance?
Typically, they have to promise the alliance that they're going to share lots of their voting data and also data on their internal operations, because the alliance wants to manipulate the way the government offices operate internally. Seems
pretty fair. Mr. Flanders, Dr. Flanders, I'm sorry. We know that 27 states have now enacted legislation prohibiting Zuckerbucks or the private funding of our elections. But in some states like Wisconsin and Michigan, Democrat governors have vetoed the legislation. Why have they vetoed these bills, and why do you believe the states should prioritize oversight over private money infiltrating election administration?
Yeah, so I think a lot of it is what we see here today, that this issue that is a very real issue is being conflated with many other election integrity issues. And I think that on the part of our own state, speaking about Wisconsin, Governor Evers has a track record of sort of refusing to implement any sort of reforms to election integrity. That, and you can even go to another level and say potentially they see the benefits of continuing this funding, given what we see in the election results where it has been beneficial to folks on the left.
Okay, and obviously they tried to sell it as Zuckerbucks being this once-in-a-lifetime pandemic idea. Then why shouldn't these bills pass overwhelmingly?
Yeah, you would think so, right? If it's just for the pandemic, we are past the pandemic, thankfully. But what we see is that municipalities didn't even spend all the money that they received. The Racine voting ban that we discussed in the beginning wasn't even used until elections post-2020. So I think there's no reason to think that even if it's not CTCL, there might be others that will engage in similar activity in the future without the excuse of the pandemic.
So it seems like with the infiltration of Zuckerbucks, in some places, pure common sense has gone away.
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman, I yield back.